Welcome back to another episode of Haunted and Historic Australia. We are in Parramatta at a place with a lot of heritage, a lot of significance in this whole area, known as the Female Factory, and there's a colony of fruit bats that are quite famous in this area, and we're just dodging them possibly going to do a on me. I'm hoping they don't. I don't know if it's good luck like it is for when a bird does it on you, but I don't want to find out because, you know, they're a bit rancid. But yeah, so we're here at the Female Factory, and we've come down to do a little investigating, have a look around, and give you a look at another part of Australia's first city, Parramatta, and this very significant historic part of the colony. This place dates back to 1818. They called it the Female Factory, but it was basically a female jail. But they made garments here. It was in operation from I think 1818 up until 1848, and yeah, there's a lot of stories that go along with this place. Obviously, a lot of heartache, some breakouts, but I do believe in amongst that there is some stories of hope as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy. We're both here, and this is the Female Factory, Parramatta. This part over here, which is actually used to be, this was part of the, I guess, administration building of the Female Factory back in the day, and but this is now it's basically a place known as Cumberland Hospital. It's a psychiatric ward, and this whole area here is now, well, this particular area here is, I believe, is the offices and admin and patient buildings are down behind this area here. But yeah, so what does it say? It says first purpose built factory. I just wonder what the names. It's called factory because of convict, yeah, because of convict women worked. But these are convict ones, I think, though. See these stones here? There's a piece of metal going through, a piece of something going through there, you know. So what I was thinking is, what are the names here, but? So, this plaques commemorate the 200th anniversary of the laying of the foundation stone by Governor Macquarie.
July 1818.
There you go. So the thing I was interested in is, what about the names at the front? You know what I mean? Like the names here.
The Female Factory at Parramatta was based on a British system that had worked well over in England. A barracks where females could stay and had shelter, a workroom for some manufacturing, and it was also a prison for the convicts that came across. Now, it is said that there was about 24,960 female convicts that came through in the years from 1788 right through until the convicts stopped coming through around that late 1840s, 1850. And it is said that 9,000 of those convicts went through a female factory system. The female factories were within New South Wales and Tasmania, known as Van Diemen's Land back in the day, and 5,000 of those convict women went through the Parramatta female factory. Now, some of the things that the females would do at the factory between the 1821 of when it opened and 1848 when it closed as a female factory. They were staying there if they were a single female who may have been a free settler but wasn't married and didn't have anywhere else to stay. They could have been older women too that were convicts originally and then were free or had their sentence pardoned or finished their sentence. They could stay there also. And obviously it wasn't just a accommodation, they had to work for it as well. Working at the female factory, they could be doing spinning and weaving, wool and linen, straw plaiting, knitting and sewing. And for the convict women, it is understood, the ones that were kind of in trouble, I guess you could say, not free women, they were made to break rocks for the colony and picked oakum. Reminds me of that movie Pitch Black, where all those creatures came out when it got dark. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like this. Can't zoom in on them, but there's heaps down there too. There are bats everywhere. All these trees have bats. I just don't want to get pooped on. Don't poop. At least not on us. So the female factory, built in 1818. Clock tower looks nice, doesn't it? It's getting dark. Bats are out. Circling. So I wonder that place over there. So we've got, oh, these bats are going right over my head, eh? I feel like I'm going to get pooped on. If I do, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep that to myself. You guys can't smell me through here. Yeah, that place over there. This brown building back there. Wonder if that was...
Yeah, I think that one's later than these ones here. These ones here are older.
Yeah, you can tell the convict built the convict brick, the sandstone. Wow, jeez. It's an infestation. Crikey. It's amazing how many bats in one area. Amazing how many bats in just this one area. It's like you don't know whether you should hide under a tree or not, because they kind of like the trees. But anyway, an intro. We are here at the Parramatta female factory just before dark, and I'm just going to pop around the front here under a tree. Hopefully don't get pooped on. Just going to catch over here. They've got a nice writing here. It starts all the way over there, the fencing. Female factory. Now, from what I understand, and we will follow up with more videos about this, Parramatta Gaol, before it's in the place that it is now, was located in Prince Alfred Park. That was the Parramatta Gaol initially. Built, I'm gonna say, I should know this. I know I've mentioned in a previous video that Parramatta Gaol was built, I want to say 1796, 1798, 1801, around that time. And it also housed women. There were women convicts there until 1821, when this place was actually finished. They had the female convicts come here, and they called it a female factory, not a female prison, because they had the women working. They were manufacturing linen, cotton items, wool, which they would call linsey woolsey, which is a mixture of the two. It was a harsh material, probably not quite as hard as canvas, but it was not soft. It wasn't soft. So yeah, they had the ladies working, making garments and material and things like that, so that they could be housed here. And that's if they weren't married or had employment in the city or Parramatta area as maids and things like that. They had nowhere else to go, so this was, I'm sorry, I'm amazed with these bats. I just don't know where they're all coming from. It's quite horrific, but in a wondrous way. Might be someone trying to tell us to get out. No. Oh, the mosquitoes are at me now. Okay. I digress. Now, yeah, so these ladies were placed here making things from 1821 to approximately 1840, 1841, which came around the same time as they abolished transporting convicts from Britain. They stopped sending us their convicts, and we didn't have any convicts anymore. It was just the people who were already here and free settlers. Now, that's not to say we didn't have convicts still after 1840s. A lot of them were doing life, so they were still kind of convicts, but they weren't being sent here fresh. So, yeah, well, this is where the females were for that 20-year stint before it became like a lunatic asylum. But at that time they had, first it was women, sometimes widowed, unmarried. Some of them may have had kids in the orphanage that was also on this site. I'd like to find that. I'll update this with a lot of the photos, because we can't get it inside. It's still Cumberland Hospital, and this, I believe, is the admin building. That's why the lights are on. People are possibly still inside. Excuse the noise. But I'll actually go over to where Mitch is, because there's not a lot to see in this particular area without going close to those buildings. And he's a wealth of knowledge, you see. I like to listen to what he has to say. But yeah, so apparently there was a separate building for the superintendent and the matrons where they lived. Now, I can't imagine that these small buildings here were sleeping quarters of any kind. But I'm sure we will learn soon what they are for, or were for. Now, what's beyond that, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so back to the original app.
Apologies.
The one that's a little easier to use.
Just talking, so I'll just be quiet.
Rather than me trying to be your fancy pants. So this is, just read that, this wall, in honour, the remaining wall of the female factory is sacred heritage for the Sisters of Charity of Australia. It is that the first 5 sisters ministered to the women convicts with commitment and dedication from 1838 until the factory closure in 1849. Okay, I was a little bit off before. Unveiled by Sisters Elizabeth Dodds, congregational leader, Sisters of Charity of Australia, at the congregational gathering on July 23rd, 2005. This historic marker has been installed with the kind permission of the Sydney West Area Health Service, which is this particular, which is what this whole area is. And of course, I made reference to what this particular building here used to be.
Hope I'm not going too fast. There looks to be some kind of holes. Must have been something else here. I'll have to look into that. Now, they did say that these were the bars. The original bars. As you can see, they're quite ominous. Now, it was also used as a hospital. It was obviously the prison, so they were incarcerated. And it was also, funnily enough, used as a, what would you call it? They call it a marriage bureau, but it's probably our matchmaker service of today. That they would maybe arranged marriage, perhaps, or they would be put out of those who were marriage age, were put out, and possibly free men or other convict men who were promised land if they got married could, I suppose, meet the women and choose from a selection of ladies. And yeah, so they match made as well. It's even got the yellow colouring. Got a cockatoo feather.
Oh, nice. So I was just mentioning this particular wall here. So the convicts of the females of this female factory were basically came out here, were placed here in 1818. But this wall, this part of this structure, wasn't built until 1838, and then and it was only then in 1849 that it was over. They left.
So it's only a newly, well, at the time, newly built before they finished up.
Yeah. So they didn't really get much use out of it, I guess, did they?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe it was enclosed at one point.
Yeah, well, I believe it was. See, I was just mentioning this here, this structure over here. See, you can see it looks like a tiny house. The outline of it there. It's quite a, I don't know, it's quite an interesting little thing, that. But there are definitely, if you look along here, there
like footholes, not for feet, but like for something.
There's actually pieces like.
Apologies for the blur. Yeah, mosquitoes that.
What happened?
I dropped everybody. I shall edit that later. Yeah, we're getting bitten alive here. We didn't put the mosquito repellent on before we got out of the car. Sisters of Charity, 175 years. Now it's getting a little dark to read it, but I'm sure we will get a photo of this to place over the top.
Here's a better view of this. Basically, what's left, the main part of what made up the enclosure of the female factory, and this area here being what would have been, I guess, the administration area, not as old as this wall would have been here. And this particular park area here, there would have been structures that would have, I guess, housed, and also, if not here on the other side of the wall, would have coupled as accommodation as well. So what I find interesting is this part over here. This is, and the other amazing thing is these trees here. These trees are really, really old, you know, like, and you know, they're huge, you know, and there's a number of them. There's one over there. That one over there is that's a really beautiful specimen near it's actually a memorial over there for the factory. But these here I find interesting. Barred sort of, you know, the bars that are set into the sandstone here, which look out into the other side, which from the research and what I can gather, it would have also either incorporated the working space for the women, or it would have housed, you know, that would have been basically their dormitory, for want of a better term. I don't know whether it was on this particular side or the other side, but yeah. So you look along this wall too, and there's a number of footholds where I guess timber would have been. There's a number of areas where there's, see that there, that's where there's iron, it's like an iron, I guess where part of the formwork would have been for roof or whatever it may be, possibly second floor, right along here. So yeah, it would have been nice to have seen what it looked like back in the day, because yeah, it would have been certainly a lot different to what it is now. I like that clock tower up there too. It's just, there's a young lady over there. That clock tower's, that's nice. I don't know I'm not sure of the age of that. I dare say it wasn't here from the beginning. I reckon that would have been a later addition. But certainly looks the part, looks good. I like it.
we hope you enjoyed this episode about the female factory in Parramatta. We will be bringing out part 2, where we make contact with some of the spirits that may have lived there in the past. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and slap that notification button so you're aware when we're posting new videos.
Aussie made.